Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Martial Universe Season 10 Part 3 based on novel. So let's start. Flashing lightning sparks converged within one of Lindong's eyes at a shocking speed. At the same time, there seemed to be lightning churning within the dark clouds above his head. Caoying was shocked when he saw this scene. There was an uneasy sensation quietly rising within his heart. Promptly, he quickly clenched his teeth. If he was to lose to an initial profound death stage human in front of so many people, how could he maintain a foothold in the Beast War region in the future? Hence, regardless of what happens, he must kill this brat today. A ferocious glint flashed within Caoying's eyes before his throat emitted a low cry. Soon after, bloodlight whizzed out from his body in all directions. His body also rapidly swelled at this moment. Bloodlight spread. A bloody figure churned before a deafening cry was scattered across this world together with a dense bloody scent. Soon after, everyone saw that hovering in the sky, Caoying's body had transformed into a 10,000 feet large bright red huge python. There were black spots on his enormous body, while a pair of large wings spread. Looking from a distance away, it looked like a flying dragon. Blood-colored scales covered the huge bright red python's body. Its scarlet snake eyes contained a dense ferocity as it stared intently at Lindong, who was at a short distance away. The demonic beast actual form her. When Lindong saw this scene, his eyes focused slightly. He was naturally aware that the strongest aspect of a demonic beast was its physical body. Once they transformed into that form, it basically meant that they had unleashed their full strength. This was also a sign that they would fight with everything that they had. Clearly, Caoying was already dissatisfied with this fight. Hence, he wanted to use this move to end it. However, this was no easy task. The lightning gathering within Lindong's eyes became denser. Dark clouds also crazily swarmed towards him in the sky. The sky gradually turned dark while several lightning snakes shuttled within the clouds. This unusual phenomenon was also detected by many experts. Promptly, their eyes were all filled with shock. They could feel a relatively wild and violent obscure fluctuation from within the dark clouds. Dragon Ghost Skill. A sharp cry was suddenly emitted from the mouth of the bright red large python that Caoying had transformed into. A monstrous bloody light surged before the huge python wiggled. Sharp blood-red bone thorns extended out from within its body. Meanwhile, at its head, a blood-red dragon horn was being slowly formed. Instantly, the aura of the blood-red python surged towards the sky. Faintly, it seemed to resemble the aura given off by a member of the dragon tribe. Bang! The bloodlight across the sky exploded. Many blood-colored light pillars suddenly shot out. A blood dragon within the bloodlight revealed its evil aura. The space itself seemed to have become distorted when that huge body flew past. No fancy techniques. Only a simple and terrifying collision. However, it seemed like even a mountain would collapse if it was struck by it. Everyone could sense just how fearsome and frightening the force contained within the strike was. Lindong lowered his head and looked at the blood-red body, that resembled a meteorite, that was charging over. His eyes gradually became grave. Immediately, he extended his hand straight forward. His finger pointed towards the thick dark clouds in the distant sky. After which, he inhaled a deep breath before the lightning glow in one of his eyes became extremely bright. Bang! The dark clouds in the sky began to churn after Lindong extended his hand. Countless lightning crazily gathered within the clouds. The clouds subsequently parted before a 10,000 feet large thunderbolt hand appeared, in front of the countless number of terrified eyes on this plains, in a shocking fashion. Lightning Emperor Meteorite Hand. Hovering in the sky, lightning gathered behind Lindong and he looked just like the Lightning Emperor. There was a pressure that was difficult to describe with words, within his icy voice as it reverberated across the sky. Rumble. The 10,000 feet large hand in the sky suddenly whizzed downwards after his cry sounded. A lightning dragon was present within the huge hand and there seemed to be a huge thunderbolt symbol vaguely present deep within the lightning glow. A vast and mighty wild energy radiated from within, Boom! On the plains below, there was already a 10,000 feet palm imprint after the huge lightning hand rushed out. That terrifying force caused the scalp of many onlookers to turn numb. In fact, fear even rose in the eyes of those experts from the Blood Python city. The lightning glow and blood glow rushed across the sky from two different angles. Finally, they clashed in front of the many pair of shocked eyes. They were like two meteorites clashing together in a destructive fashion. Bang! A loud noise ricocheted across a 500-kilometer radius. Bright, dazzling and intense light was emitted from the sky. Its intensity and brightness even surpassed that of the hot sun in the distant sky. Everyone used their hands to cover their eyes. Their eyes stared through the gaps between their fingers as they stared intensely at the spot in the sky, where the light had erupted. Two huge objects were crazily eroding the other party at that spot. Watch how I kill you. Monstrous blood light swept out from within the bone-thorn-covered bright red huge bat's body, while Caoying's murderous roar resounded over the sky. Lightning slaughter. Lindong extended his hand before he pointed it at the wildly struggling, distant bright red python. His eyes were filled with cold indifference as he clenched abruptly, before an icy cold voice was emitted from his mouth. Bang! A lightning glow suddenly erupted from the large thunderbolt hand after Lindong uttered those words. Countless frightening lightning bolts wildly struck against the bright red giant python. Humph! Caoying snorted coldly before blood light spread in all directions. Subsequently, the light collided with those lightning. You are courting death. Lindong smiled faintly upon seeing this. These frightening lightning bolts were not formed from ordinary Yuan power. Instead, they contained the true strength of the Thunderbolt ancestral symbol. Shock surged within Caoying's huge snake eyes when the first lightning exploded. He could sense an extremely dangerous aura being emitted from the lightning ripples. However, he clearly did not have the time to pull back at this moment. Hence, all he could do was stare in shock as the countless frightening lightning bolts struck. Bang bang bang. A series of explosions continuously took place across the huge bright red python's body. Subsequently, sharp cries continuously sounded out, while the blood-red energy undulated on Caoying's body actually began to vanish rapidly, amidst these thunderbolt explosions. Meanwhile, his incomparably sturdy blood-colored armor also showed signs of cracking as scarlet blood spluttered out like a fountain. Everyone lifted their heads at this moment. Their pupils shrunk when they saw the originally fearsome large bright red python in the sky, shooting backwards. Blood rained down onto the ground before waves of white smoke rose. Clearly, even his blood contained lethal poison. Bang! The bright red huge snake drew a red arc and descended. Finally, it landed violently onto the trembling land. The ground within tens of thousands of feet radius collapsed and formed a large pit. Fresh blood flowed from it and even the ground itself was dyed red. Many pairs of eyes stared in bewilderment and shock at the huge pit on the ground, as well as the extremely miserable-looking giant bright red snake. Clearly, Caoying had lost in that previous earth-shaking clash. The originally noisy plains became silent at this moment. Those experts from various factions had varied expressions when they saw this result. Their eyes became grave as they lifted their head to look at the young figure in the sky. This human actually possessed such tremendous strength. It's no wonder he dared to challenge the Blood Python City. The experts from the Blood Python City turned somewhat pale at this moment. This was especially the case for Caoying as the latter's eyes were filled with disbelief. Caoying was actually defeated in the hands of an initial profound death stage human. He won. Standing on a high slope, Xinqing relaxed her tightly clenched hand as a relieved smile appeared on her face. Her two Ninetail tribe young ladies cheered and hugged each other. There was a joy of having survived after a disaster in their cheers. Hovering in the sky, Lindong looked at the plains, which had turned quiet as the lightning glow in his eyes slowly dissipated. His body moved and he once again appeared in the huge pit. The lightning emperor scepter in his hand pointed forward. After which, it paused on the figure, whose dim blood light had disappeared and was turning back into the human-shaped Caoying. Currently, Caoying's body was covered with blood and his body was filled with scars. his aura was also extremely weak. He raised his head and looked at the lightning emperor scepter pointing on his forehead. When he saw Lindong's indifferent eyes, his originally ferocious eyes were filled with horror and shock. He could see an icy cold murderous intent that could not be hidden from within that young man's eyes. In fact, this aura was only possessed by someone who had survived countless bloody fights. He did not doubt that the scepter in the hands of this young man would slam heavily on his head in the next moment, shattering his head into pieces. "City Governor, you have lost." Lindong looked at Caoying, who did not dare to move under the scepter. A smile surfaced on his face as he said softly. Caoying's expression was slightly distorted. He clenched his teeth and said, "Even if you are able to defeat me, there are still so many people from my blood python city here. How can you possibly defeat all of us? It is indeed going to be very troublesome to kill so many people. However, none of you are able to stop me if I want to leave." Lindong smiled. His eyes were indifferent as he glanced at the group from the blood python city a short distance away, who looked as though they were facing a great enemy. "Moreover, I should be able to kill at least half of the top experts from your blood python city before I leave." The corner of Caoying's mouth twitched. If this conversation took place before the fight, he might have snorted at his threat. However, at this moment, he was unable to do so. This was because he understood that this smiling young man in front of him had the ability to do so. Currently, he was seriously wounded and it was obvious that he was unable to stop Lindong personally. There is no need to suffer such a great loss in order to capture 2 members of the Ninetail tribe. Why don't we just forget about today's matter, City Governor Caoying? Lindong laughed. His voice was also transmitted at this moment, causing the brows of many onlookers to twitch. This fellow was clearly forcing Caoying to retreat. "You?" Caoying clenched his teeth. Clearly, he was extremely unwilling to do so. "You have 2 choices. Both of us can choose to take 1 step back, or I will kill you and exterminate half the experts from the blood python city before escaping." Lindong's smiling face landed in Caoying's eyes, causing a chill to rise in the latter's heart. The latter clearly knew that this person in front of him could perform such a feat. Caoying's expression changed rapidly. Finally, he clenched his teeth and nodded in front of the increasingly cold and indifferent eyes of Lindong. "All right, my blood python city will accept our defeat." Lindong smiled, as he slowly withdrew the lightning emperor scepter in his hand. He looked at the experts on the plains, who had varied expressions in their eyes, and knew that he had achieved his objective. On the disheveled plains, countless pairs of stunned and grave eyes were staring at the man, who withdrew the scepter from Caoying's forehead. After which, Lindong surveyed his surroundings once, before turning to leave. A moment later, a buzzing-like uproar involuntarily emerged. The fight had clearly ended and the result had exceeded most people's expectations. Since the start, hardly anyone believed that Lindong could defeat Caoying. No matter how one puts it, the latter was merely a puny human who had suddenly appeared out from nowhere. On the other hand, Caoying was an expert who has long made a name for himself in the Beast War region. His half-step to perfect profound death stage strength was sufficient for him to tower over many powerful experts. Yet, the final result left most people here in shock. Not only did Lindong manage to defeat Caoying, but he even issued a relatively overbearing threat in front of the many experts from Blood Python City. Moreover, this threat even obtained the end result that he desired. This fellow, is he called Lindong? Truly a formidable individual. Several people clicked their tongues secretly. It was likely that this name would spread rapidly after today's incident. However, there were also some individuals who quietly shook their heads. The Beast War region was extremely chaotic to begin with, and Lindong's arrogant act would ultimately wound up attracting a great deal of trouble. This time around, it was Caoying. The next time around, it was likely that the troublemaker that he faced would be even tougher to deal with. Caoying led a couple of experts from Blood Python City and hurried to the side of the seriously injured Caoying, amidst the uproar. His expression was dark and solemn as he turned around to look at Lindong, who had completely ignored them. He clenched his teeth and said, "Big brother, are we simply going to let that brat off? We are large in numbers. Regardless of how many techniques he has, we should be able to stop him. Caoying's eyes appeared unusually dark and dense. However, he eventually shook his head and spoke with great unwillingness. There is something strange about that brat. Even if we can rely on our superior numbers to keep him here today, our blood python city will definitely suffer a huge loss. At that time, those factions, which are eyeing us with ill intent, will take advantage and attack us. It is likely that blood python city will no longer exist then. However, our reputation will suffer if news of this incident spread. Caoying said. Is our reputation or our survival more important? Caoying replied coldly. His eyes became even colder as he said, we will remember this debt. If the opportunity arises in the future, we will take action. Caoying could only nod his head after hearing Caoying's words. He also knew that Caoying was currently seriously injured. If they were to clash head-on with Lindong, it was likely that no one within Blood Python City would be able to stop the latter. At that time, they would suffer a severe loss if they were to engage in an intense fight. Therefore, their Blood Python City could only shatter their teeth and swallow them now. Let's go. Lindong returned to the tall slope. 3 worshipping and heated pairs of eyes greeted him. All he could do was helplessly shake his head, waved his hand and said, "Yes." The Xinqing trio nodded obediently. Lindong did not say anything else upon seeing this. He had already achieved his objective today and there was no need to linger on. His body quickly moved before he transformed into a ray of light and shot forward. The Xinqing trio closely followed behind him. After which, the 4 of them rapidly disappeared in front of the many pairs of eyes. After Lindong's group left, the atmosphere in this place also became a lot more relaxed. Many pairs of eyes contained some pity and ridicule as they looked at the group from Blood Python City, who were retreating in a depressed manner. Lindong's journey was extremely smooth after experiencing the hindrance by Blood Python City. However, during the subsequent journey, he was able to gradually sense the shock he had created. His action might seem arrogant to certain powerful experts in the Beast War region, but those from the Demon region loved to fight. As a result, many self-proclaimed powerful individuals were also searching for Lindong in an attempt to allow him experience the true might of the experts in the Demon region. Lindong felt helpless in the face of this result. He wanted his name to spread across the Beast War region and this was something that was unavoidable. Hence, he did not regret his decision. As long as he was able to find Little Flame, he was willing to create a commotion of any size. Now, all he hoped was that Little Flame would hear these rumors. Otherwise, he would have wasted all his effort. With anticipation in his heart, the group of 4 gradually approached the location of the Ninetail village. "So Lindong, we should reach the Ninetail village in another hour." Xinqing rubbed the perspiration off her forehead as she cried out towards Lindong in front in a delicate voice. "I?" Lindong nodded before his eyes surveyed his surroundings. They had left the desolate plains 2 days ago and his surrounding area was lush green. It was filled with rich life and vegetation compared to the desolate plains before. This place is considered as the junction between the Deep Lightning Mountain and the 100 Beast Ridge. This place is not as chaotic as the desolate plains. This is because all the territory here belongs to the Deep Lightning Mountain and the 100 Beast Ridge. Xinqing tried to give Lindong more information about the Beast region as she followed beside him. "What is the difference in strength between the Blood Python City and these 2 large factions?" Lindong asked. "Blood Python City can hardly compare with these 2 large factions. Even discounting the leaders of these 2 factions, who are both one of the 8 great demon commanders, there are still many experts under them. Both factions have 9 great warriors and every one of them is stronger than the governor of Blood Python City." Xinqing's small face spoke in a solemn manner. Lindong's eyes hardened upon hearing this. It seems like the Deep Lightning Mountain and 100 Beast Ridge was indeed powerful. Just the 9 great warriors under them had exceeded Caoying's cultivation level. It's no wonder they were able to become one of the strongest faction in the Beast War region. It is rumored that the commanders of the Deep Lightning Mountain and 100 Beast Ridge both possess the qualifications to advance to the Samsara stage. If they succeed, not only would their names be amongst the top in the Beast War region, they would also be considered as an overlord in the entire demon region. Lindong nodded. Although the perfect profound death stage was only one step away from the samsara stage, this single step had buried countless geniuses. Only by taking this step could one be considered as an top-tier expert in this world. At the same time, one would also possess the qualifications to pursue the reincarnation stage. It seems that these two top factions were indeed quite powerful. Half an hour quickly passed while Xinqing spoke. Lindong also saw that the area in front of him had turned spacious. It seems like there was a floating mountain in the distance. The area around the mountain was a deep abyss and many metal chains were extended from the mountain, forming a path that connected to the outside world. There was a huge formation-like barrier covering the mountain and it coincidentally wrapped around the mountain. Meanwhile, Lindong was able to see many buildings within the mountain and it looked just like a stockade. This is a pretty decent formation. Lindong looked at the huge formation before a tinge of shock flashed across his eyes. It was possible for him to detect an extremely powerful energy ripple from it. Sir Lindong, that is the guardian formation of our Ninetail tribe. It is one of the few things that have been left behind since the ancient times. Our Ninetail tribe would have wound up in an even more miserable state if not for this formation. Xinqing explained. Lindong nodded slightly. Sir Lindong, we will blow the fox whistle and those within the village will know that we have returned. The members of our tribe will surely be pleased to meet you. The two young ladies from the Ninetail tribe spoke joyously. After which, they took out a strange-looking whistle and placed them beside their small mouths. A serene whistle was subsequently emitted before it reverberated around the mountains. Lindong looked at the mountain. He could clearly sense a commotion from the stockade after the whistle was blown. After which, many lovely figures appeared from behind the light barrier and the entire mountain quickly became lively. This was a large mountain that was completely black. A huge rock hall stood at the peak. There was a guard every 3 steps outside of this large hall, providing the place with an extremely tight security. At this moment, a figure was seated on the leader's seat within the large hall. Though half his body was covered by the shadows, it was still vaguely possible to see a metal tower-like outline. An indescribable pressure covered the entire large hall and it caused the people below to perspire involuntarily. Lord General Yang, all the factions within a 500-kilometer radius of the northwest area have been exterminated. Sir, you have gained great prestige in this battle. It is likely that the merit of the other lords cannot match up to you. The metal tower figure in the shadow did not reply to this praise. His strong body remained still. The person below seemed to be used to this. After smiling for a while, he said, additionally, this little one has received some other news. I believe that Sir will be interested. Speak. A thunder-like voice reverberated within the hall. Sir, you have always been paying close attention to the humans in the Beast War region. It is rumored that a human has appeared in the desolate plains 2 days ago. Moreover, he even defeated the governor of Blood Python City. The figure within the shadows lowered his head. His dark red eyes seemed to contain a monstrous-like ferocious glow as he stared at the person below. What is his name? Oh, the person below frowned and thought for a moment. Finally, he nodded and spoke hesitantly. He seems to be called Lindong? Bang! The person's expression changed right after his voice sounded. A terrifying and ferocious aura gathered wildly within the hall before a shadow enveloped him. A metal tower-like body had appeared in front of him in a flash. At the same time, a scar-covered powerful hand grabbed his clothes and squeezed it. That person was a little shocked as he stared at this metal tower man, which typically acted indifferently to most matters. He did not know why the latter had such a huge reaction. Where is he? A thunder-like sound exploded beside the man's ears, causing him to feel giddy and dazzled. However, he was clearly aware of the temperament of the person in front of him. He did not dare to slight the latter as he hurriedly replied, he is with members of the Ninetail tribe. If my deductions are correct, he will likely head for the Ninetail village. Additional, sir, because the human acted haughtily, there are currently many individuals looking for him. Even the Mountain General is planning on looking for that human. Mountain General. There seemed to be a monstrous ferocity gathering within the dark red eyes of the metal tower-like man. He quickly tossed aside the person in his hand before a thunder-like voice across in the entire mountain. Everyone, prepare to leave. Send someone to tell that awful Mengshan that if he dares to touch that person, I will exterminate his entire clan. That person felt shock in his heart as he stared at that terrifyingly and ferocious metal tower man. He hurriedly nodded and quickly left the hall. The many people within the entire mountain began to become busy. They packed their things and readied themselves to leave. The metal tower-like man finally exited the large hall after it became empty. Sunlight shone onto him. A scar-covered sky-devouring like fearsome tiger face was revealed. At this moment, this extremely fearsome and rising general in the Beast War region, whose hands were soaked with blood, looked towards the northern sky. His tiger eyes, which had become numb and emotionless after being dyed by blood, actually become unusual gentle. After which, the corner of his mouth twitched. That extremely brutal face revealed a simple and honest smile, which had not appeared for a long time. Big brother, you finally came. There were red and green spots occasionally adorning the lush green mountain village. Additionally, the entire mountain was filled with bird noises, and this caused the village to appear like a paradise. Lindong slowly walked across this village while being led by the Xinqing trio. There were occasionally some beautiful figures flashing and appearing around them. After which, pairs of large eyes, which contain rich curiosity, would stare at Lindong. At times, there was some soft laughter emitted through covered mouths, and they sounded just like larks. Lindong helplessly shook his head as he was observed in such a fashion. The Xinqing trio also quietly laughed. After which, the two ladies separated and called those beautiful figures to leave. Sir Lindong, please don't be upset. Our Ninetail tribe is usually closed and there are hardly any outsiders visiting, especially humans, Xinqing explained. Lindong waved his hand and indicated that he was not bothered by this. After all, he was already used to being surrounded and observed. Our main camp is in front and our clan elders are waiting for you, sir. Xinqing laughed. They had already announced Lindong's identity before they entered the village. Understood. Lindong nodded. After which, he increased his pace. A moment later, a spacious stockade appeared in his sight. There were many figures in front of the stockade. A somewhat graceful and beautiful woman stood in front. She immediately caught sight of Xinqing before an excited smile surfaced on her face. Mother. When Xinqing saw that beautiful woman, her eyes reddened slightly. Subsequently, she pounced at the woman. It was likely that this little girl really missed her home while she was out alone. The pretty woman hurriedly stepped forward before she embraced Xinqing dotingly. Then, she quickly asked how the latter was doing. Those surrounding women also came forward with pleased faces. Standing aside, when Lindong saw the scene in front of him, he curled his lips and thought about his parents and his family. It has been many years since he left the Great Yang Empire and he wondered how they are doing now. Haha, why? Xinqing has actually brought back a man this time around. A woman's teasing laughter sounded while Lindong was feeling exceptionally emotional in his heart. Lindong was startled. He lifted his head and saw a couple of pretty women smilingly teasing him. Xinqing's face turned red after hearing their words. She hurriedly said, "All of you should not speak such nonsense. This is Sir Lindong. He came to the demon region to settle some matters. I have been ordered by the Hall Chief to be his guide. Along the way, we met Sister Liu's group, who was captured by the Blood Python City. Sir Lindong is the one who helped me to rescue them. All of you should stop uttering nonsense. He is an important guest and must not be slighted." The pretty woman glared at the few women by the side. After which, she looked at Lindong and spoke warmly. "Young brother Lindong, on behalf of the entire Ninetail tribe, I would like to thank you for the matter regarding the little Liu duo." Lindong waved his hand and said, "Chief is too courteous. Xinqing is my guide. It is only right that I lend her a hand." Calling me chief appears to be too distant. If young brother Lindong does not despise my Ninetail tribe, you can call me Aunt Shin. The pretty woman gently said. She was extremely beautiful. Although she was no longer young, time had hardly left any traces on her face. In that case, I will do as you say. Lindong smiled. Calling this extremely beautiful and gentle woman chief was indeed a little awkward. I am already aware of the reason why you came to the Beast War region. Let's go in and talk about it. Aunt Shin laughed. She turned around and led the way after seeing Lindong nod his head. Within the hall, Aunt Shin watched Xinqing place a fragrant tea respectfully beside Lindong, before retreating. After which she softly asked, "Can young brother Lindong tell me a little more about the person you are looking for? He is called Lin Yang and is a brother of mine. However, I am not sure if he is using this name in the Beast War region. He is from the Tiger tribe. It is likely the Heavenly Devil Tiger tribe." Lin Yang, Aunt Shin frowned and thought about it before shaking her head. Based on what I know, no one called Lin Yang appeared in the Beast War region during this past year. The Tiger tribe is a huge tribe in the demonic beast world. The Heavenly Devil Tiger tribe is not only one of the 3 strongest tribes in the Tiger tribe, but is also one of the 8 king tribes in the demonic beast world. There are many experts from the Tiger tribe in the Beast War region, including experts from the Heavenly Devil Tiger tribe. However, they are all renowned experts. This does not tally with the information that young brother Lindong has provided. Lindong sighed in disappointment. It seems like the search for Little Flame was not going to be an easy task. However, young brother Lindong, there is no need to worry. I will send someone to gather information about the experts, who have recently made a name for themselves in the Beast War region during this 1 year. Given young brother Lindong's ability, it is likely that your brother is no ordinary individual as well. Hence, he should be able to make a name for himself after coming to the Beast War region. This will make collecting information much easier. Aunt Shin said. Lindong nodded and replied, "In that case, I will have to trouble Aunt Shin. Young brother Lindong, please stay at our Ninetail village during the next few days. I will update you once we have some news." Aunt Shin laughed. She beckoned a young lady over to lead Lindong to rest, after seeing Lindong nod his head. Xinqing sat beside Aunt Shin after Lindong left. She asked, "Mother, do you have any information regarding the person Sir Lindong is looking for? The Beast War region is extremely vast. Moreover, our Ninetail tribe has isolated ourselves in one corner and we can only protect ourselves. However, you can be rest assured that I will do my best." Aunt Shin smiled. Her hand rubbed Xinqing's small face and spoke dotingly, "Girl, you must have suffered in the outside world by yourself, am I right?" "No. Everyone in the Flame Divine Hall takes good care of me." Xinqing shook her head and smilingly said. "Is this young brother Lindong also from the Flame Divine Hall?" Aunt Shin looked in the direction where Lindong had left and asked. "No. However, Sir Lindong is extremely powerful. Not only does the chief hold him in high regard, but there is also an elder, Qingxi, who admires him. I heard from elder sister Xinlian that elder Qingxi is at the reincarnation stage." There was a worshipful expression flashing in Xinqing's large eyes. Reincarnation stage. Hearing these words, Aunt Shin trembled and the few other women around her gasped, as great shock covered their faces. Even when their Ninetail tribe was at their peak, they too did not dare to slight such a person. A few days back, the Flame Divine Hall was attacked. It is rumored that there was a reincarnation stage expert and 3 samsara stage experts. Xinqing's small face was excited as she said. She completely ignored those completely stunned individuals around her. After all, such a frightening lineup could easily destroy any faction in the Beast War region. At that time, Sir Lindong joined forces with elder sister Xinlian and the other members of the Flame Divine Hall to defeat a samsara stage expert. Moreover, they even managed to seal him. Aunt Shin's expression was altered. She was able to detect Lindong's strength previously. It seemed to be similar to hers, the initial profound death stage. Furthermore, she was also quite impressed by the fact that Lindong could defeat Caoying, from the Blood Python City, with his current strength. However, that shock was a little insignificant compared to what Xinqing just said. It looks like young brother Lindong is indeed extraordinary, Aunt Xin said. She no longer had any doubts about the fact that Mo Luo and Elder Qingxi thought highly of Lindong. Xinqing nodded continuously. Her beautiful small face was flush and appeared extremely cute. Xinqing, have you fallen for this young brother Lindong? He seems pretty decent. A woman by the side teased after seeing Xinqing's appearance. Aunt Hong, what nonsense are you spouting? I am only a little girl. How can I match up to Sir Lindong? Even elder sister Xinlian is fond of him. Xinqing's small face was as hot as fire as she spoke in embarrassment. All of you should stop teasing her. All right, Xinqing, you should go and rest. Additionally, you should avoid going out now that you have returned. It will be troublesome if Qin Gang from the 100 Beast Ridge learns about this. Aunt Xin smiled after hearing their teasing voice before she finally said. The redness on Xinqing's face diminished significantly after she heard this name. She quickly clenched her teeth and nodded gently. Aunt Xin could only smile bitterly and nod her head upon seeing this. Lindong remained in the Ninetail village for the next few days. Although it was located in the chaotic Beast War region, this place was exceptionally peaceful. Such an atmosphere was in complete contrast to the chaotic conflicts in the outside world. Although some news would reach him every day as he rested, it was not the information that he was looking for. It seems like the Ninetail tribe had a limited information-gathering ability. However, Lindong did not complain about this. This was especially after seeing Xinqing's pitiful and frightened manner each time she saw him shake his head. Hence, it was almost impossible for him to feel anger. Instead, he smiled, rubbed the little girl's head and comforted her. Only then did her expression improve. In any case, he had only just arrived at the Beast War region. He could treat this as resting point while he came up with a solution. Another 3 days quietly passed while Lindong adopted this relaxed attitude. Lindong was seated on a towering large tree within the village and leaning on a tough and thick tree branch. His eyes were narrowed as he allowed the warm sunlight to penetrate through the gap of the leaves and scatter over his body. The comfortable Lindong suddenly opened his eyes. He wore a puzzled expression as he looked at the Ninetail village, which was in quite a big commotion. He saw some young ladies congregating at the deserted areas of this village at this moment. Sir Lindong, can you allow us to stay here for a while? We will definitely not disturb you. Xinqing landed on a tree branch beside Lindong. She placed her hands together in a pleading fashion, appearing extremely delicate and beautiful. We will definitely not disturb you. If you are unhappy, we will let Xinqing warm your bed. A couple of young ladies by the side laughed secretly. Their words were extremely bold. What is it? Lindong smiled at them and asked. He had become somewhat acquainted with these young ladies of the Ninetail tribe over these few days. Xinqing sighed softly upon hearing this. Promptly, she laughed bitterly. The 100 Beast Ridge is here to collect their tribute. This video will end here.